All right, good evening, everybody. It's 7 p.m. in New York City and 7 p.m. in Peconic, New York. I'm Sam Kimball from Crush Wine Experiences, formerly New York Wine Events. Thank you so much for joining us on virtual day trip to wine country presented by Citi. We are here for a special wine and cheese tasting with Long Island's largest wine producer, Pindar Vineyards. We're going to a town called Peconic, New York, which is the home of the winery, and it's exactly 90 miles east of Times Square in Manhattan. Our theme is great wine from one of New York State's primary viticultural and grape growing areas, the Long Island wine country. And tonight, two wines that won Best in New York State in their class this year in 2021. So this is a first on the show. We've never had two best in class in one tasting. And that's out of a field of nearly 500 wineries in the state of New York. I mean, New York State is the fourth largest wine growing region in the country. And so that is a very, very big deal. Pindar Vineyards' background is that it's a family business. It's run by three siblings, started in 1979 by Dr. Pindar Damianos, the father of those siblings. And that makes it the second oldest winery in Long Island and in the Long Island wine country. The vineyards encompass 500 acres, and the team here grows 17 types of wine grapes or varietals. The stats: 70,000 cases of wine produced each year, about 65,000 people who visit the winery and the tasting room and the vineyard each year to taste wine. And it is really a great place. The wines are spectacular. The winemaker is doing an amazing job. And we are really excited to be with Pindar this evening. So welcome, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all. Please ask any questions or make any comments live and during the session in the chat, and we will answer those questions and comments as we go on the fly during the session. And also, if you would, hit the chat right now and hit us up and tell us where in the world you are tuning in from. I, myself, have the pleasure this evening of being at the winery with our special guest. So I'm really excited. I'm actually on site at the winery. It's beautiful here. The sunset is gorgeous. The vineyards, which are just vast, are beautiful. So I'm really stoked. We're traveling virtually to the North Fork of Long Island. Hit us in the chat if you're familiar with the North Fork of Long Island. So I see lots of people tuning in. North Carolina, Long Island's welcome, Kathy and Steve. North Carolina, California, Brooklyn, Chicago. Welcome everyone. Lots of familiar faces and some new ones as well. If you've been to the North Fork, hit us up in the chat and let us know if you have been out here to this wine country. It is the second largest wine region in New York State, and they are 50 years into their winemaking journey here and starting to make, as we can see, award-winning and amazing wines. So we are traveling virtually to the North Fork. For those of you who are in California or Illinois or North Carolina, you might ask, what and where is the North Fork of Long Island? The North Fork is a roughly 30-mile-long peninsula in the northeast part of Suffolk County, New York, on Long Island, roughly parallel with the even longer peninsula known as the South Fork, which is also known as the Hamptons. And both of these places are on the eastern end of Long Island. And although the peninsula begins in the east, just with the Riverhead section there, the term North Fork refers collectively to two towns, Riverhead and Southold. And beginning about 75 miles from New York City, the North Fork is the easterly part of the North Shore of Long Island, whereas the Hamptons are the easterly part of the South Shore of Long Island, known as the South Fork. And the whole region, the whole eastern end of Long Island, is in these parts known as the East End. So let's take a look on the map at where we're headed. I will show you exactly. If you see in my background here, just over my shoulder, there's a red map pin. Actually, it's over my other shoulder at the very tip of the North Fork heading out into the sea there. You'll see the map pin. That's where we are, way out 90 miles from New York City. That's where Pindar Vineyards is. And as you can see, the region is a maritime climate. So it is literally surrounded by ocean water. You've got the Long Island Sound on one side, the Peconic Bay, and the Atlantic Ocean. So an absolutely spectacular part of the world. If you've been here, you know all about it and the magic that happens here with the agriculture, with the wine growing, and there's a whole culinary scene on the North Fork as well. I want to show briefly a little video that really sort of gives a little bit of the visual spirit of the North Fork of Long Island. So let me pull that up now, and bear with me a moment. This is just a little video vignette about Pindar Vineyards. So here we go. You can see here, we'll talk about the fact that the winery is a green winery. These gorgeous sunflowers that grow every year. You see a windmill there in the background. It's all sustainable. They use wind energy largely. And just a vast amount of vineyards, 500 acres, 17 types of wine grapes, and really a magical place almost at any time of year. I've been here in the summertime. I've been here in the spring, the fall, the winter. They have a beautiful production facility that's just filled to the brim with tanks and barrels. And actually, they do some fun off-season winter and cold weather events in the production facility with barrel tasting and even some sparkling wine, like champagne type tastings. So thank you to Kristen Massa and the Times Review Media Group for that great little video visual vignette. Welcome, Pindar Damianos. It is great doing this tasting with you tonight.
Thanks, Cam. Great to be here.
So I have to ask you, you have two siblings. There are three of you who run the winery. How did your dad, Dr. Dan Damianos, come to name the winery after you? And I'm not trying to start any wars between the siblings.
He started in 1979. There was five of us. I'm the youngest of the five. So if you talk to my siblings, they would say that I was the favorite because I was the baby. But I think talking to him, I think he liked the name and thought it would work out for a winery. And here we are 41 years later. So
I mean, if you know, and I know some of you watching have been out to the North Fork and have even been to Pindar and other wineries for wine tasting. Pindar is iconic and very, very well known. It's not only the largest winery in the North Fork, but it is one of the best, if not the best known.
absolutely.
In your words, and I always ask this question, so anybody who there's a few people who tune in from time to time with us and this is not their first time. I often ask the question, what is the calling card or kind of the signature of Pindar Vineyards?
Well, it's not only the oldest family-owned winery on Long Island, but I think we make wines for everybody's palate. So if you come to Pindar, you can find wines that are sweeter, dry, red, white. Really depends on what you like. Our objective is to find a wine that you enjoy and that you become a fan of. And also, I think if you come to the winery, I think I believe we're one of the friendliest wineries on the island. So you can always come here, feel comfortable, educating you about wine, learning about wine. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's near and dear to my heart and to my team at Crush Wine Experiences. We and amongst other things, including grand tastings, we do wine tour experiences, and we come here. And I think people learn a lot when they're here from your staff, from you when you stop by and visit with groups. But also, we're all about discovery and education. So we have a question from Steve. We've had quite a bit of rain lately during the growing season. What effect will that have on this year's vintage? Will the grapes be in any way affected negatively?
not only did we have a lot of rain, but we dodged a big bullet on Sunday. So we had a hurricane come up the coast and was going to barrel down on Long Island. It ended up veering to the right and going up the coast. But we did get a lot of rainfall. But we've had some warm weather since then. Today was in the 80s, so the soils are drying out. There was a light wind with the storm, so that helped dry out the fruit. So far, so good. I think in the next couple of weeks, as we get into mid-September, we'll start harvesting grapes. So we dodged a big bullet, and we're thankful for that because with everything that went on last year, we really wanted to have an excellent harvest. We had a great harvest last year, but with the COVID being shuttered for a couple months, it was nice to have an open season and get into a harvest season that Mother Nature, and we had a dry season. We'll have great harvest. I think we'll make some great wines.
So if the weather holds in the kind of pattern and what we've been seeing, you feel like you're in good shape for having a really strong harvest.
We're still three or 4 weeks away from harvest. We'll start harvesting some Chardonnay for sparkling soon, the next couple of weeks. But if we get a nice dry September into October, I think we'll have a good year. But Mother Nature is Mother Nature. It always has a way of throwing a loop in there, but we take it by day by day. We've been doing this a long time, so we'll weather the storm and have a great harvest.
I mean, Mother Nature is your partner. Speaking of which, and I mean, I think we're all acutely aware of what's going on with sort of ecology and the environment around the world. You guys have been way out front in terms of establishing your position and being a leader as a green winery with environmental stewardship, sustainable agriculture. Can you talk a little bit about that? And while you do, I'm going to show some images on screen for everybody to see here. One of the things that I love about Pindar is that right out back, you've got a wind farm windmill.
Yes, absolutely. That was put up in 2012. That's a 100K wind turbine, and that powers the winemaking facility. So to say we're completely off the grid, we're pretty close, depending on the time of the year and how much energy we're using. When you're bottling or during harvest, you use a lot of energy, and then through the course of the summer, when things quiet down, you use less. But yes, we put that up in 2012 to help reduce our energy needs, and it is a windy spot. Long Island is very windy, so if you come here, it spins most of the time.
And does it supply energy, exclusively to the winery, or do you send any back to the grid?
It goes back to the grid. There's no batteries, so whatever we don't use goes back into the grid.
But you pull off anything you need from the wind power.
Yes, it's net metered.
That's great. That is great.
Absolutely.
Was that a complicated process, or
Well, at that time in 2012, it was wind turbines. A lot of people were doing solar, and then wind seemed to become a bigger thing. So it was not difficult to do. There were some code changes in the town of Southold to make, but the town worked great with us, and we were glad to be able to put this size up in our facility. So it's great.
Well, you're way ahead of other places. I mean, now New York City is about to embark on a massive project offshore. We're talking scores of windmills, or maybe even hundreds, but they'll be way out to sea. And that's going to have a tremendous positive impact.
And it's good when you drink Pindar wines. You could think that we're environmentally friendly. We try to give back to the environment, keep our footprint as low as possible. So that's
the other thing I wanted to show is in keeping with the agricultural nature, and if you haven't been to the North Fork, this region is all agriculture. It's zoned agriculture. It's not just wine growing and vineyards, but there's asparagus and cauliflower and potatoes and all manner of produce. You guys, every year, you grow this huge forest of sunflowers. Talk a little bit about that. It's become a thing here at Pindar.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 30 years. We usually plant the sunflowers before Mother's Day, and they usually bloom between July and August. It was originally when we released our sunflower Chardonnay. It's a barrel fermented Chardonnay. When we release that wine, that would be when the sunflowers are in bloom. So we try to do that every year. and we do some charity events with the sunflowers too. If you cut them, we give it back to Make-A-Wish Foundation and some other organizations. So it goes to a good cause. And of course, sunflower means happiness. So when you come, you feel happy when you're at the winery. You can cut the stems and take them home. It's a lot of fun. And
No, it's a really nice tradition that you guys have established with that. So moving on to wine, because I know I'm getting ready to start tasting wine.
absolutely, you came to the right spot.
And pairing cheese. 2021 has been a great year for Pindar so far, in that you won best in New York State with not one, but two different wines, both of which we're tasting tonight. What was that like? And can you tell our guests like about that competition and what's involved? And obviously we're going to taste the wines shortly.
Absolutely. Two wines, the white blend and the Dr. Dan's Gewürz. 2 years ago, our winemaker came to us and said, he's a great guy, Eric Bilka, great winemaker, came to the family and said, listen, I'd love to come out with a white blend and a Gewürztraminer. So we decided to make these two wines in honor of my father, one of the founding fathers of the Long Island wine industry. So we came out with the Dr. Dan's white blend and the Gewürztraminer. And we submitted both of them to the New York Wine and Grape Foundation tasting, and they ended up winning both best white blend in the state and best Gewürztraminer. And then the Gewürztraminer, being best Gewürztraminer in the state, ended up winning the Governor's Cup. So it's the best wine in New York State. We'll try both of them tonight. Very proud, especially with losing my father in 2014. It was a great honor to have those two wines in his honor and end up winning the top honors. So we're really proud of our winemaker, and proud of our whole staff and our whole winemaking staff and the vineyard staff for doing a great job.
Well, and I met Eric about 3 weeks ago. We came, you and I tasted through these wines and talked about some of the pairings, and he's the epitome of that, super, humble but smart and knowledgeable, winemaker who's, just really gets it.
Absolutely, we're glad to have him.
Yeah.
He fits our winery very well, and we're grateful to have him, and we'll continue under his leadership to make excellent wines, and that's what it's all about.
Excellent. Last question, and let's start talking about tasting wines here.
Absolutely.
What's the most popular wine at Pindar Vineyards?
Of course, winter white.
Winter white.
Absolutely.
So to describe, not everyone, a couple of people I think who are watching, if you have, hit us up in the chat. Let us know if you've had the winter white. But if you're from the New York area or Long Island, you're probably familiar with the winter white. But for those who are not in New York or haven't had it, what is the winter white?
Winter white's a blend of Chardonnay, a little bit of Riesling, and a New York grape called Cayuga. It's a little bit on the semi-sweet side. It's part of the Four Seasons. There's four of them. There's Winter White, Summer Blush, Spring Splendor, and Autumn Gold. And it's just an easy drinking wine. I think back when we were first starting in the 79, 80s, Long Islanders didn't drink a lot of dry wines. They were just getting introduced to local wines. So we came out with some wines that were a little bit on the sweeter side, and to get the customers, and Long Islanders into wine. It's an easy drinking wine. Great, you could serve it chilled. Great with picnics, and it's something that just kind of took off. So we continue to make it. It's the blend is very similar year to year, and there are some fans out there, winter white fans, that have been drinking it for 40 years. So we'll continue to make it, and we make great wines all across the board. Pythagoras being our leading selling red. That's the blend of Merlot, Cabernet, Cab Franc, and Petit Verdot. Excellent with burgers and steak. Easy drinking red. But all the wines across the board, you come here, you'll find something that you like. That's what it's all about.
No, that's great. Well, we're gonna start tasting these. The first one is my favorite Sauvignon Blanc on the North Fork, is the Pindar Sauvignon Blanc, 2020 Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, and tonight we're going to be trying all 2020 vintages, so all the current vintages. This is, if there's some fans out there that didn't recognize the Sauvignon Blanc, it's got a label change. We went to a little bit cleaner label this past year, so it's a white label with the gold grape cluster.
Yep, everybody can see it now. Yeah, that's the bottle of Sauv Blanc. So tell us a little bit about the provenance of this. I mean, this is all estate grown and bottled? You grow the grapes here?
Absolutely, 100% Sauvignon Blanc grown. We just planted 5 more acres 3 years ago, so that'll start coming into production. So our Sauvignon Blanc production will start going up. This is a delicious wine. The 2020 is excellent.
This wine has a beautiful light, and the color is just exquisite, pale yellow.
A lot of lemon drop.
Ton of like
grapefruit.
beautiful aromatics. I mean, the nose, the bouquet is gorgeous. And we are pairing it tonight with, I believe, we're pairing it with the cheese. We chose, for everybody watching, we chose cheeses you can get anywhere. If your supermarket has a good cheese section, you can get all 4 of these cheeses. If you've got even just a basic cheese shop in your town or city, you can get these cheeses. So this one we're pairing with Havarti, which is kind of a soft cheese. And it goes really well with the acidity, the refreshingness of this Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, it just
100% Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Stainless steel fermented. It's delicious. Great with seafood.
Yeah.
This got an 87 from Robert Parker, so a high rating. Really well done. Cheers to Eric. He did a great job in the 20s.
This is the epitome to me of an absolutely spectacular North Fork white wine.
Nice,
That's
dry, crisp.
Light, crisp, refreshing. It's got the acidity. And, if you have this with a clam pizza or, grilled shrimp or scallops, it's just perfect. So a great one and a really nice value. I mean, $18.99.
Yeah, Pindar wines are reasonably priced. I try to stay within a nice $20 range.
So from this one, we're going to go to the first of the 2 award winners.
Yes.
The Dr. Dan's White Blend. Dr. Dan being your father, who founded the winery, with a white blend that won Best in New York State at the same competition in 2021. So tell us a little bit about this one. What are the grapes? What's the composition of this wine?
The blend on this is 53% Viognier, 22% Pinot Grigio, 20% Sauvignon Blanc, and 5% Riesling. So this will change every year. The 2019 had a little bit of a different blend, and this is the 20.
I get some interesting notes on this. I even get I could be just me, but I'm even getting a little bit of pepper, but not like red wine pepper, a different,
a little bit of honeysuckle,
almost like a white pepper, yeah. And just, I mean, taste profile is great. The finish, again, this is so balanced. This is a wine that's so nicely balanced.
A lot of heavy on the Viognier, which we grow a small acreage of Viognier, great varietal, and then Pinot Grigio, and then the Riesling to round it out. Gives it a little bit of a spiciness at the end. Really nice, the 2020. Only 200 cases made, so these are limited production wines, this and the Gewürztraminer. So,
guys, if you have this with a nice piece of brie cheese, it's magic. It's absolute magic. Who in the group who's watching have had the Sauvignon Blanc or the Dr. Dan's white blend? I don't know if anybody ordered ahead of time. We had the link up if anybody wanted to get the wines ahead of time. But
yeah, all the Winter White fans are charming.
Yeah.
To say.
Well, Winter White's great.
Yeah, it's a great wine.
All right, so let's go on to we have a question.
Sure.
From Terry.
Excellent.
Terry, what's your question? Hit us up in the chat, if you would. Let's see.
Good thing we did it here. Look at you. You have all these.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. No open questions. Okay, good. All right, so now we're going to go on to wine number 3. All 4 wines, by the way, guys, are white wines. This is a summer wine tasting. These wines are perfect for the now and into the fall as well.
Absolutely. I think in the fall we'll do some reds because the 2019s are starting to roll out, and they're excellent. The 2019 vintages were were phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's go back. All right. So,
And to make a note, sorry, that Dr. Dan's white blend got a 90 from Robert Parker this past. So
wow. Okay. So the next wine we're doing is the Gewürztraminer, which many of you may know is a German grape. It means spiced wine in German, Gewürztraminer. And this is also a winner in 2021 of Best in New York State. So let's pull that up. Bear with me 1 second. Put it on screen. Let's see. All right.
yeah, this is the top dog. This is the one that won the Governor's Cup.
So this won even more accolades than the Dr. Dan's White.
Yeah, because it works as like it's almost like the you win almost like a dog show. You win the best of class, you win best of that varietal, and then it goes into all the best go into competition again in a tasting. And this one out of all the varietals could have been under against Merlot, sparkling, white wine. So this one, the best wine in the state.
So this one's got some really interesting notes: citrus, lychee nut, nutmeg, and we're pairing this with another really very accessible, easy to procure cheese, which is cheddar Gruyere. And I love this pairing. You know, the nose. I mean, you get those aromatics in a Gewürztraminer that are just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's 100% Gewürztraminer. A lot of wineries make a late harvest. You know, Gewürztraminer can be in a late harvest variety. This is a standalone white wine, dry, delicious, great with all kinds of foods.
I mean, this with the cheddar Gruyere, it's not really a lot of residual sugar, but there's a little sense of sweetness to this wine, although it's really not sweet, and it just dovetails with the cheddar Gruyere. That's got a little bit of seasoning, and it's got a little bit of that sharpness from the cheddar.
Probably a little bit of residual just to round out the acidity, even though it's, you know, Gewürztraminer doesn't have a lot of this, you know, it's considered a little bit spicier, but maybe to round out the spiciness, just enough on your tip of your tongue. It's really nice.
It's interesting too. We opened this bottle, 25, 30 minutes ago, and it's been working in the glass, and I'm getting it's getting better. Usually that's just with red wine, but the oxygenation with this and the Gewürztraminer, there's something about it that I'm noticing that it's really magical, and you can see why it won Best in Show at the event. So this one is $26.99. Still a great value, and again, this is in terms of a meal. What would you pair this with?
Any kind of poultry, even seafood.
Seafood with a sauce, maybe. Yeah.
And just so the viewers know, the two Dr. Dan wines are only available through the winery and online because they're limited production. So the other wines that you'll taste tonight, the Sauvignon Blanc and the Riesling, those are the ones that you could probably find in your local wine shop. You can ask for them, or you can buy them online. But the two Dr. Dan's, you would have to come to the winery or order it online. And we ship to 40 states. So if anybody's out there that wants to try these wines, that likes to try different types of varietals, this is probably one for you.
This one's getting better by the minute.
Absolutely.
It's really great. All right, so now we're going to go to the fourth wine, and this one is a semi-sweet wine. You know, we're pairing it with Monterey Jack. It is a Riesling, and it's got, you know, really nice semi-sweet residual sugar component to it, and it's great with the Monterey Jack. So a lot of you probably know that Riesling, which grows really well in New York State, is the sort of unofficial white wine grape of the state of New York. And obviously the Finger Lakes have been famous for Rieslings for years. So let me put this one up on the screen, and let's taste it, Pindar. Here we go. All right, here's the 2020 Riesling semi-sweet. Beautiful bottle. It's got that classic Riesling bottle look. What are the tasting notes on this one?
A lot of dry apricot, floral notes, lime, and some melon.
Yeah,
It's
this
just got
one's
that sweetness on the tip.
Just delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. So we're pairing this with Monterey Jack. The cheese is sort of taking a back seat to all the flavor and a little bit of the sweetness in the Riesling. And the cheese is it's a soft cheese. It's got a really nice texture.
It's got great acidity. Usually when you have a Riesling, it's a little more syrupy in certain wines, but it's got just that nice crisp acidity with the sweetness, not that syrupiness that you sometimes get in a Riesling. So really crisp, great with seafood and other poultry dishes as well.
Now, is this one, I mean, I know that the winter white is quite widely available in retail, but some of these other selections, I mean, the Sauvignon Blanc is in retail, but it's not as widely in retail as winter white.
It can be. We distribute
okay.
all through New York State, upstate New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Jersey.
Right.
You just have to ask your local wine shop. If they don't carry it, they can get it.
But for folks who are in North Carolina or Illinois, California,
you're not going to find it in your local wine shop. But if you go to Pindar.net, you can order all the wines.
Yep.
You get discounts, and we ship to 40 states. So there's no problem putting it in a box and sending it to all over the world.
What are the benefits of being in the wine club?
Thanks, Michelle, for asking. You get pre-selected wines 4 times a year. Usually pick the wines, limited production wines that haven't been released yet. Every time you come to the tasting room, you get a free tasting or a glass of wine, and you get all kinds of great discounts. We do some wine club release parties and special events for the wine club, and you can always get the discounts online too, even if you live out of state. So they're pre-selected wines, wines that haven't been released to the general public. You usually get the wines first, and it's a great benefit. If you come to the winery a lot, you save a lot, and we love our wine club members and our customer base all across. But if you're a big Pindar fan, it's like having a VIP insight into the winery. So it's a lot of fun. If you can try it out for a little while and keep it going, or you can.
Are there any events that you do with Eric, sort of on hand, talking about the wines? And
yeah, pre-COVID, we would do the release parties. He would come up and try the wines through with customers. We do the barrel tastings and go through the facility, pull out barrel samples out of the barrels.
So hopefully that'll be back very soon.
Yeah, we did some blending sessions with Eric as well. Customers can try different blends before they're bottled. So a lot of cool things, especially with the winemaker. Great guy, and like I said, he makes terrific wines.
One thing I will say, because you have a very, very successful tasting room, and this is a destination for people to come to on the weekends. For anybody watching, don't be fooled by the fact that this is a popular destination. The wine making is like crazy good, and the wines are seriously great. Some places are very popular on the weekends because they got a band out back that's, really entertaining, or, they're in a good location. This is one of those places where, there are people who come and it's a lot of fun. But for people who love wine and people like me who are all about finding great wines and pairing them with foods, Pindar is making terrific wine. And that's my, if I leave you with anything tonight, that's my point, because I've watched the evolution of the wines over the years, and especially with Eric coming on board 3 years ago, just some great products. So
I always say, you come to Pindar, it's a family-owned winery. So when you come here, you'll see me, you'll see my sister. You go to Duckwalk, you'll see my brother. If you came here for the last 40 years before my dad passed away, you would have seen him. So it's always been a family operation. When you come in, you feel very welcomed. We're not pretentious. We're here to educate you about wines. We want you to come and enjoy wine and not feel, that, wine has to be anything but a lot of fun. So we do have music on the weekends.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. We're very relaxed, and we welcome everybody. So we're family friendly. And it's just, if you come, you'll feel comfortable. And I've yet to find someone that didn't have a great experience. And that's what it's all about. Customers experience and satisfaction. So that's what it's all about. And we want to build great, loyal customers that love our wines. And because that's what it's all about.
So Michelle, if you come with me on the tour, we'll be at Pindar, and I guarantee you that either Pindar or Alethea or both of them will come over and hang with us and talk about the wines and taste with us. So
yeah, something tells me she'll be coming to Long Island at some point.
Exactly. All right. Well, this has been great. Pindar, thank you so much for doing this. It's great to do it here at the winery. Super fun. By the way, all the cheeses we tasted tonight are here at the winery. So you can get cheese, all 4 of these same cheeses to go with the same 4 wines, and enjoy them out on a deck or in the pavilion, which is literally in the middle of the vineyard. You're surrounded by grapevines. You're just sitting in this beautiful pavilion with covering and open air. So
or have these wines in your backyard before summer's over.
Exactly.
You know,
well, or even afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much again. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If anybody has questions about Pindar or ordering, I did put my email in the chat. I'm going to put it in again now, and just hit me up and we will help. And next week, actually not next week, we're taking off a couple weeks during the Labor Day break. But we will be back September 15th with a fascinating session with Greg D'Agostino from D'Agostino Wines. Greg D'Agostino is one of the grandchildren of the D'Agostinos who started the D'Agostino supermarket chain in New York. And he's got a couple of amazing Italian wines, and we're going to do a session with him. We're going to talk about the wines. We're going to pair some food, and that's September 15th at 7 p.m. So come on back. And in the meantime, come on down to Pindar or order the wines, and we will see you very soon. Everyone stay safe, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Pindar.
Thank you, Sam.
It's great to have you. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.